Live from Elliott Field on the campus of Fitchburg State University, Falcon Sports presents coverage of Fitchburg State University athletics. Today it's family weekend and we bring you a triple header here from Elliott Field as the Falcons take on the Buccaneers of Mass Maritime in a critical men's soccer MASCAC matchup. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Falcon Sports on MASCAC.tv. My name is Daniel Bolak. Paul Faria will be along doing color commentary, but as you can see on the field, we're just about ready to get started with the starting lineup, so we're going to let Paul do the starting lineups.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Dan. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Elliott Field on the campus of Fitchburg State University for today's MASCAC conference matchup between the Buccaneers of Mass Maritime and your Fitchburg State Falcons. The Bucs enter today's match with an overall record of 5-0-1 and a 1-0 mark in the MASCAC, while the Falcons are 4-4-1 overall and 1-0 in conference play. Now, let's meet today's starting lineups. First, for the visiting Buccaneers, a freshman from Framingham, Mass., number 2, Matthew McDonough. A freshman from Tybee Island, Georgia, number 3, Thomas McCarthy. A senior from Hanover, Mass., number 4, Daniel Riley. A junior from Braintree, Mass., number 8, Rob Robbs. A sophomore from Plymouth, Mass., number 9, Nick Parker. A senior from Rockland, Mass., number 12, Stephen Maccabee. A sophomore from Duxbury, Mass., number 16, Connor McInnes. A sophomore from Swansea, Mass., number 18, Dylan Buckborough. A senior from Rehoboth, Mass., number 21, Jake Seufert. A senior from Westport, Mass., number 24, Asa Mills. And in goal, a freshman from Purcellville, Virginia, number 1, Thomas Funkhauser. The head coach from Mass Maritime is Greg Perry. He is assisted by Oliver Francis and Tim McDonough. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for your Fitchburg State Falcons. A sophomore from West Haven, Connecticut, number 7, Tom Sorrentino. A senior from Hanover, Mass., number 9, Colin Shea. A junior from North Andover, Mass., number 10, Brett Smith. A junior from Haverhill, Mass., number 11, James David. A freshman from Middlesex, New Jersey, number 14, Steven Martinez. A freshman from East Bridgewater, Mass., number 16, Jared Burns. A sophomore from Everett, Mass., number 18, Francisco Lemus. A freshman from North Attleboro, Mass., number 20, Connor Nealand. A junior from Rutland, Mass., number 22, Calvin LaRose. A senior from Saugus, Mass., number 25, Carmen Bordenaro. And in goal, a junior from East Bridgewater, Mass., number 28, Aiden Hanratty. The head coach for Fitchburg State in his 4th season is Werner Tisson. He is assisted by Dmitry Strunkin and Adam Green. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, would you please rise for the playing of our national anthem?
With that, we're ready to get underway here. The first of 3 games here at Elliott Field on this family weekend triple header here.
Very excited here today, Dan, and what makes it all the more better is these matchups are super important, super critical. Beginning today, we got a very important, high-octane intensity matchup, conference matchup, Maritime, Fitchburg State.
Indeed. Right now, there are 3 goaltenders in the MASCAC with a save percentage of .900 or more, and with a goals against of .6 or less, and all 3 of them are here today. Aiden Hanratty for Fitchburg State, Thomas Funkhauser, and Joe Cohen for Mass Maritime. And for the Buccaneers, they've had a very impressive season, 5-0-1 to start the season, one of their best starts in a very long time. And you could arguably say the stars of this Buccaneer team are the goaltenders in Joe Cohen and Thomas Funkhauser.
Absolutely, Dan, and I expect that to be the case as this game gets started here. Not only have they been the superstars for the season, but we may think that they are going to be the ones that have contributed to this 5-0-1 start. We're going to see if they can continue that high level of play against Fitchburg State and what they're really capable of here in conference play.
Indeed, and for the Falcons, Aiden Hanratty's been no slouch either. He's making his 8th appearance. He's got a .56 goals against a .900 save percentage. He's got a shutout streak of 455 minutes coming into today's game. Has not given up a goal since the beginning of the month, and you know he'd like to keep it that way.
Absolutely, but no doubt about it, this is going to be the toughest test that he faces. Both teams extremely defensive-minded, so that only plays to his advantage. And we're going to look to see if he can not only bring that big boot of his, but also bring that intense goalkeeping ability that he has.
Indeed, when you say, too, both these teams are defensive-minded. The Falcons starting 5 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 2 forwards. The Buccaneers going with 6 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 1 forward. So both teams do play a very defensive-minded game, which obviously helps contribute to the goalies and what have you. But nonetheless, it's going to be a very interesting matchup today. These 2 teams, they have arguably the 2 best records in the MASCAC right now. Both started off with wins in conference play. Mass Maritime beat Salem State. Fitchburg State beat Westfield State. And so both teams looking to go to 2-0 and really take control of the conference with a victory today.
Absolutely, Danny. You know what? Even looking a little bit ahead in the schedule, Fitchburg's got MCLA October the 5th, and that's their next game. So they got a string of conference games here. They want to get off to a good start. They want to keep that undefeated record. That's what's on the line here today.
Indeed, the Falcons in the home white uniforms with green. They'll be going from right to left to start. The Buccaneers in the road uniforms. They're dark, and they have a bit of a gradient in the front. But I'm not exactly sure what colors you call those. Looks like dark purple with a tan. Looks like they invoke sort of a beach environment, if you will. They're going from left to right.
Mass Maritime, isn't that right on the Cape Cod Canal, I believe?
Buzzards Bay.
Buzzards Bay, so close enough.
Near enough. The Falcons also wearing their old uniforms that they were wearing the first couple of home games. They had brand new uniforms for the Regis game, but that didn't go so well. So if they're the superstitious bunch, they've changed back to the old uniforms for this one. You know, if they did all their winning in the old ones, well, here you are. But then again, there's a shot right to the goal. First shot of the game off the foot of Nick Parker. It goes wide. So it only took about a minute to get a shot on the board, and it is the Buccaneers who get the first shot, but it is wide.
Yeah, Dan, I think the most interesting thing that we're going to see today is, like you said before, extremely defensive game. Right now, I think you mentioned earlier, in total we have 11 defensemen out there. So it's going to be interesting to see how these defensemen play in transition. How much do they contribute on the offensive game?
That will be interesting to see as a foul is called against Mass Maritime. That's our first whistle of the game. And so the free kick coming for the Falcons here, just short of midfield. It will be Francisco Limas who will take it for the Falcons. He'll send it to the far side of the field, where it'll be knocked down by Tom Sorrentino. Sorrentino holding on the far side, trying to bring it up towards the far side corner. And running it out of bounds was one of the defenders there for the Buccaneers.
Wow, it is so jam-packed. If you look into the box before that ball goes out of play, it is jam-packed in that middle, not allowing the cross to happen. Usually when they enter the far side of the field, going towards the end line, they're looking for a cross, but this defense is dead set against letting that happen today.
Yeah, you might think that all these players are Metal fans because there's going to be a lot of mosh pits in the box today. as the Falcons bring it upfield. That dribble just a little too far and will be pushed back there by Stephen Maccabee, and it'll be kicked back to midfield by the Buccaneers. That'll bounce off the scores table and out of play. It will be a throw-in for the Falcons. One thing to note, too, for Thomas Funkhauser, the starting goaltender for the Buccaneers. This is his 5th start, but the last game the Buccaneers played, a 3-0 win over Anna Maria on Thursday, was the first time that Funkhauser had actually completed a game, as the first 3 starts he had given way to Joe Cohen at halftime. And so we'll see how long Funkhauser stays in the net today, if he plays the whole game or if they go Funkhauser-Cohen in this one. Should also be pointed out, Cohen was the reigning player of the week in the MASCAC after he put forth a great effort last week. So here's Jared Burns trying to find some space. Tried to get a turnaround shot, but misfired badly. It was closer to the corner flag than the net.
And you know what, Dan? That's going to be another interesting thing today. How frequently do they take shots uncharacteristically deep? And I mean from the 20 and back. We shouldn't see it too much, but more than usual, simply because penetrating the heart of the defense is going to be a lot tougher today than it has been in any other game that the Falcons have played thus far. And I think the same goes for Mass Maritime as well.
It's interesting to note, too, both teams have given up roughly the same amount of shots per game. Both of them give up just a little over 13 shots a game. So despite, they're both cut from the same cloth defensively, if you will, with lots of defenders and stellar goaltending as a result as well. Mass Maritime hasn't found the scoreboard too much, only 10 goals this season. The Falcons, not much better, they only have 12. So the Buccaneers actually have scored more per game because the Buccaneers have played 6 games to the Falcons' 9. So this could be a defensive struggle. There's a very realistic chance this game will end in a scoreless draw. But both teams are looking for the 3 points. They want a goal and they want to come away with the victory today.
Absolutely, and I think that with the amount of shots these guys are going to be taking, similar to that one right there, there's definitely going to be knocking on the door a lot, but with these goalies, it's just going to be really tough to score from beyond the 20. Look to see them try to work it in, but I don't know how much success they'll have. Yeah,
we use the term pounding the hinges or whatever, but these hinges seem like they're reinforced with a lot of steel. Maybe even some carbon in there. It's going to take a lot to knock them down. May need to hope for the door frame to break first. Here's Colin Shea from midfield. He's trying to spring Sorrentino on the far side. Sorrentino does run it down, but it's kicked out of bounds, and we'll have our first corner kick of the game as one of the Buccaneer defenders getting back kicked it away from Sorrentino to try to defuse the situation. Although it does, as we said, see a penalty. It's not a penalty. Corner kick. I'm thinking of field hockey. I'm thinking ahead of myself here.
Mm-hmm.
Field hockey's the 3rd game of this triple header. That'll be at 6 o'clock.
More info on that later, though, right?
What was that?
More info on that later.
No doubt. Anyway, sent into the box. It's headed back by the Buccaneers, although that was dangerously close to the net.
Avoiding danger there.
Mm-hmm. Buccaneers run it down, try to cross it to the near side of the field. Calvin LaRoe's going to try to run it down for the Falcons, trying to run it down for the Buccaneers. I believe it's Dylan Buckborough. He couldn't get there, though. Falcons throw in. It'll be to Colin Shea. That pass, not a lot on it. Bit of a dangerous one, and there's Buckborough with a shot, an easy save for Hannerty.
As you mentioned earlier, in that Elms game, Dan, Aiden Hannerty had an assist, which is extremely unheard of for a goaltender. That just shows you his ability to be a difference maker and his ability to make plays. Not that he'll do it here today, but he is a threat in the net when he is booting it.
Yep, to send it downfield happened last week against Westfield, happened again last year against Curry. So he's got a track record for being able to do that.
It's highly impressive.
Indeed. And so now it bounces around. There's James David trying to spring 2 Falcons, but both Jared Burns and Carmen Bordenaro are caught offside. Both of them look like they were ahead of the play just a little bit. I mean, obviously when the ball was getting there, they had both beaten all the Buccaneer defenders, but the question is, did they beat them at the time of the pass? I'm not sure. But in any case, the flag goes up, first offside of the game. There's Sorrentino trying to send it downfield. He's trying to spring Jared Burns, who's well onside this time, and he's able to get around Matthew McDonough. Sits across into the box looking for Bordenaro, but one of the Buccaneer defenders gets back and blocks the centering pass.
Great idea by Burns not to be overzealous and try to take a shot there. Tried setting up one of his teammates, and you never know. A couple inches away, a couple inches difference, maybe that's a beautiful cross. So great look, great opportunity there for the Falcons.
And so, as the ball went out of bounds, they ruled a little extra shove from Calvin LaRose issues a Fitchburg State foul. And so Mass Maritime will have a free kick instead of a Falcon throw-in. This one sent to the top of the box. Smith trying to head it away to the far side. Sorrentino trying to run it down over there, as well as Jake Seufert. Buccaneers collect the ball, but it's over the sideline and out. Falcons will have a throw-in. As we are in the 9th minute of action here, no score. Shots 3-1 in favor of Mass Maritime. Buccaneers won last year's matchup at Buzzards Bay by a score of 1-0. So, low-scoring matchup there. And 2 years ago, last time Mass Maritime was here, the Falcons won that one 3-2.
It's not impossible to beat this team. It's not impossible to crack the code. It's just going to take a lot of intensity, a high level of intensity, and I think that in a game such as this, the Falcons are definitely served well because they got really good athletes on their team, but they also have a lot of depth. So,
well, if the Falcons do beat the Buccaneers, they'll be the first this season to do so. Although Nichols came the closest, they have the 1-1 tie over the Buccaneers. Free kick from 30 yards out, and that one probably would have had a better chance if it was from 50.
Yeah.
Way high, way wide. Goal kick for Aiden Hannerty.
Very interesting to see them go with the double, the fake kicker, though. We often see that in football on kickoffs, but that was very interesting to see there.
Indeed, try to get some deceptive strategies there. Do whatever you can to get some goals on the board. As we said, the Buccaneers aren't exactly too offensively keen, as here is Nick Parker trying to push to the goal. One touch a little too much. And so it'll be Hannerty who'll take it and put it back into play. Give and go was broken up there by Thomas McCarthy. McCarthy trying to set the cross, but Brett Smith, great defense there to take it away. The ball stays in bounds. It was saved there. And now it goes to the near side corner, and that one is knocked out of bounds. Desperation clear by LaRose. So it'll be Matthew McDonough who will throw it in for the Buccaneers.
A lot of physicality with James David. And
there was one knock to the goal there, but the Falcons were able to clear it nonetheless. Send it downfield. Carmen Bordenaro for Jared Burns. Defenders trying to converge. He goes to the far side. Sorrentino with some space. Tries to set the cross. It's blocked. Second effort. Offline. Kicked away by Asa Mills. To midfield. Shea heads it up. Picked up there by one of the Buccaneers. Goes to the ground. No whistle. Falcon stumbles as well. They just stumbled over each other's feet. There was no fouls there. Ball keeps bouncing around. Back and forth, back and forth. Around midfield. Oh, two heads right on that ball.
And we've seen James David play extremely physical right before that throw-in on our near side of the field over here. Playing very physical in the box, playing very physical there. The Falcons are going after it today. They got to be aggressive.
That one sent forward into the box towards the goal. Funkhauser comes out. And we'll pick that one up before Jared Burns can put a play on it. Funkhauser will just roll it back into play. And the Buccaneers will send it upfield. It'll be cut down by Francisco Lemus. He'll go back to Hannerty. Hannerty will knock it down. He'll look to drive it downfield. Low booming kick towards midfield, but it's headed right back by McDonough. Knocked down by Parker. They continue to move it around. Parker trying to take it away. Can't do so. It's Calvin LaRose. LaRose lofts it downfield for Bordenaro. But it is Asa Mills who gets to that one. But Bordenaro able to turn around, get away there. Here's Jared Burns. He'll wait. Stumbled, but he keeps control. Tried to poke it through the feet of Daniel Riley. But Riley rejected that. And so it's pushed back to Calvin LaRose. LaRose trying to send it to the top of the box. It's rejected. It goes back to the D-Corps and Francisco Lemus. Now for Blaine Bolduck. No, that's not Blaine Bolduck. He didn't start. That's Colin Shea. Got the number upside down there. In any case, the Falcons continue to maintain possession. It's Martinez for David, and off a Buccaneer and out of bounds.
Dan, I will say this. Despite the defensive prowess of Mass Maritime, I do like the Falcons' ability to work the ball in transition a lot better than what we saw last week, or I don't even know, last week, 3 days ago against Regis.
Yeah, Regis did an excellent job clogging the lanes. Turnaround shot by Smith misses. Another chance. It's the football goalposts. Wouldn't have been any points in any sport there. It was a nice follow-up attempt, though. After the initial shot was whiffed on, a second effort trying to pick the top left corner. It wasn't a bad shot. So 14th minute, still no score. Shots now 4-3 in favor of the Buccaneers. Carmen Bordenaro, he's looking to get it to Sorrentino. Sorrentino pulls back, holds, tries to get through two defenders, was looking for Bordenaro, but one of the Buccaneers got a foot on it, and so it just hopped harmlessly to Thomas Funkhauser. Funkhauser sends this one high into the air. Header can't be made by Buckborough. And it'll be for Jared Burns. Back for Brett Smith. A little farther back for James David, and even farther back still for Colin Shea. But now they go forward for Calvin LaRose, who knocks that one up in the air. Martinez for Sorrentino. Bit offline. Buccaneers controlling far side, trying to get it to midfield. They get past midfield, but they find Colin Shea. And now the Falcons from the far side, working it up. Header misplay by Martinez. Midfield, Mass Maritime. Trying to bring it up. Lead pass, too far. It's right on towards Aiden Hanratty, who will pick it up. So what have you seen the first 15 minutes out of this one, Paul?
Honestly, Dan, I've seen, as we expected, a really good defensive struggle, although I will say in terms of advantages, I like what Mass Maritime is doing on defense, but I just don't think that they're as strong right now carrying the ball in transition into offense. I think that if this game is going to turn into, a last-minute offensive possession, I give the edge to Fitchburg State because they have gotten, I will say, better looks. They've gotten better team looks, and they look like to be passing the ball a lot better on the offensive side of the ball.
Foul is called against the Falcons, so it's a free kick for Mass Maritime from a little over, from about 50 yards out, minus a few. Comes in the 16th minute. This one to the top of the box, looking to push it towards the goal, but the Falcons are able to head it back, as they're apt to do on these. That was the Mass Maritime player. That was McDonough, who could not keep it in bounds. So now they're throwing to Brett Smith. Back for LaRose. There was a bit of contact there.
Looks like
the assistant wants to call a foul, but the Falcons would have had advantage. So if Mass Maritime had played it back, it would have been given. That lead pass for Parker, too far offside is the call. Of course, it goes to Hanratty anyway, but with the offside call, Hanratty is given the ability to place it where the infraction occurred, which is obviously going to give him a better kick than if he just sent it back on its way.
Absolutely.
So he drives it downfield. Headed up by Mass Maritime, knocked back by the Falcons in the Buccaneer zone. To midfield. Lemus knocks it down. Couldn't make a good play on it. Here's Nick Parker. Far side, towards the box. He's trying to spring one of the Buccaneers. Trying to run upfield. Couldn't do so. Brett Smith. His pass goes off the official, but it finds a Falcon nonetheless. Lead pass rejected. Sent backwards. It's going to go all the way back to Hanratty. Just at the fringe of the box. Able to pick it up. With lots and lots of space for Hanratty, he puts it on the ground. He's going to let it roll. Now he'll drive it downfield. Try to gain some space there. McDonough knocking up in the air. Now chested down by Brett Smith. Smith trying to push it forward. McDonough sends it back. Trying to send it forward. There's Connor McInnes. McInnes with some space, some time, a break towards the goal. Save Hanratty. Round of applause from the Falcon faithful. Hannity's third save of the day. And now here's James David as the Falcons transition from midfield and beyond. Sorrentino looked to spring Bordenaro a little too strong. It stays in bounds, though, so Riley has to run it down. Send it downfield. The Falcons will have it in Buccaneer territory. Falcons trying to send it to the top of the box. They want Jared Burns. He's able to knock it down. Burns with one defender to get around. Tries to get around him. Now a shot to the goal. Was right on, and Funkhauser made the save.
Good opportunities we've seen back-to-back here on both possessions for both teams.
We know Jared Burns can be a playmaker, and that was a nice move there to try to fake out the defender to get the shot on, but it was right towards Funkhauser and didn't have to move too much to make the save, but still a very nice effort by Jared Burns nonetheless. He leads the team in shots with 17. And so now is Mass Maritime on the near side. Parker trying to send it upfield. Kept it in bounds, but there was nowhere else to go. Hannity's going to let it roll into the box so he can pick it up. 19th minute of action here at Elliott Field. Shots 5-4 in favor of the Buccaneers. No score. This one goes very high into the air and very far. Went about 20 yards past midfield. In any case, now played down by the Falcons. LaRose trying to get that long pass for Sorrentino. Couldn't do so. Bordenaro trying to get around the defender. A bump there for Maccabee. Goes out of bounds. It's in favor of the Buccaneers. Both teams have had some pretty nice chances thus far, and both goaltenders have come up solid as well. This one pushed back. Hannity's got to play it forward, and he takes a knee. It was incidental contact, and you can see Hannity helped up the Mass Maritime player. Just a little aggressive there. There was no malicious intent, I don't believe.
Now, just to be clear, Hannity would not have been able to catch that ball. Is that right?
That is correct. He was just trying to make a play on it. The Buccaneer player on the far side of the field, I think that's Nick Parker. Yes, number 9. He's going to come out to talk with the trainer. I wonder if maybe he took a hit there, maybe drew some blood on that. I mean, as there was... I remember last year, Carbon Bordenaro, during the Worcester State game last year, was challenging for a ball in the box, and Nick Zucco came out high for the Lancers and ended up kneeing Bordenaro in the face, and Zucco got sent off for that.
I believe I was here for that. I believe I remember that.
But the thing on that particular play, let's see. Hold that thought for a moment. As here's Josh Hofer, who's coming to the game. Gave it for Martinez. His shot was blocked. But yeah, this one was sort of like the same thing, but they were outside the box, and that one was just, a collision. Both of them were going straight after the ball. One wasn't trying to make a play on the other. No malicious intent, and as you can see at the end, Hannity helped Parker up. Gave him a pat on the back. It was all right. They knew that was an accident. Although Parker did have to come out of the game there, so that's probably going to be pretty helpful for the Falcons, as Parker has been sneaking upfield this half. In any case, 21st minute, Falcons trying to push Bordenaro. He was surrounded, kept it going, tried to find Hofer, cut down in front.
Good idea.
Hofer came in for Sorrentino on that substitution as well. Now they're trying to spring Hofer again, running it down on the far side of the field. Sets the cross, headed back, headed forward, towards the goal. Funkhauser makes the save.
Not nearly enough steam to get by on that one. One thing that I do think the Falcons are doing a really good job is, if we want to talk in terms of football field parameters, around the 35-yard line, they're doing a really good job of keeping the ball within the 30 to 35-yard line zone, not letting it get too far back in their own territory. And I think that's ultimately playing to their advantage when it comes to the transition game.
Yeah, battle between in the middle half of the middle third of the field, I should be saying. On that long kick downfield, it's to Hofer. Daniel Riley gets to it for the Buccaneers. He'll play it upfield. Falcons able to take it away. Martinez looking for the top of the box, headed back by Riley. A couple substitutions that will be coming in for Mass Maritime, Dylan Jones came in for Nick Parker. Stuart Kinsman for Matthew McDonough as this one's towards the goal, looking for a shot from Burns that goes just wide.
He is in serious attack mode right now.
Jared Burns trying to smell out a goal. He wants one. So Buccaneers will make those substitutions. As we said, Dylan Jones came in for Nick Parker. Parker will take a breather for the rest of the half. Hopefully he's all right. Stuart Kinsman comes in for Matthew McDonough, and Taylor Schoberg comes in for Jake Seufert. And so now back to action's pushed towards Bordenaro. That has to play the bounce, and it's headed back by the Buccaneer, tailing him. Burns able to cut that pass off, knock it out of bounds. Throw in for Mass Maritime. Looks like they find their target there in Mitchell Thompson. And now a lead pass downfield. It's too far for anyone. As Colin Shea will have to play it to Hanratty. Back to Shea. As lurking there was Connor McInnes. I mean, that was some good play there by McInnes to lurk there, try to force Shea and Hanratty into some pressure moves. Although the Falcons were able to defuse it nonetheless. Battling forward on the middle of the field now. To the near side, here is Mitchell Thompson. Thompson trying to poke it forward, trying to run that down as Dylan Jones. And it'll be a goal kick for the Falcons. Staying right with him was a Falcon. Was that
Lemus?
It was Francisco Lemus who stuck with him. A couple more substitutions now for Mass Maritime coming in.
I've abandoned my substitution call until we get the win.
Sounds like an idea there. Got to stop the clock there. And one of the substitutions it says Nick Parker's supposed to come back in for Dylan Jones, but the thing is, you're not supposed to re-enter. I think the only exception is a card had to be given for Parker to be able to re-enter, get the injury re-entry. But there was no card given, so I don't think Parker is allowed to re-enter at this point. So that may be what the discussion is with the official, as they're talking to the officials are talking there at the scorer's table. I mean, Parker came out because of the injury, but is he allowed to come back in, though a card was not given? Though he was subbed out of the game, is he allowed to come back in, although an injury wasn't given? I mean, a card wasn't given, you know? Looks like they'll allow it. And so Hanratty sends it outfield, one touch from a Falcon. Bordenaro trying to run it down Riley there for Mass Maritime. It's out of bounds. It's off of Bordenaro's foot. I could also be misinterpreting those rules. Don't think for a moment I might mess something up in those rules, you know?
Well, I mean, especially the substitution game of soccer, it's so iffy. It's so many variables always moving around. Not always, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
A lot of variables.
Martinez looking for Hofer, far side. Holds on to it, tries to get around. Still has it. Fakes out a defender. In the box. But there's that whole grouping of players there. Now back for LaRose. LaRose trying to turn around, push it back towards the box, maybe get a shot through. But it's wide. Funkhauser will pick it up. And so now this will be sent up in the air by Funkhauser to midfield. Parker heading it forward. He wanted to find Stuart Kinsman. Oh, collision there. No, now the whistle given. And it will be against Mass Maritime.
Fairly physical game here. Not only that, it's a pretty high-quality matchup as well that we've seen so far. Defensive stalemate, although I will say this. Despite the defensive stalemate that is going on, the shots that these teams have been able to get have been very quality shots. We're not seeing them get completely shut down to the point where they haven't had chances. So it's ultimately going to come down to who can capitalize.
And both teams averaging about 13 shots a game. We are in the 26th minute, and the shots are 7-5 in favor of the Falcons. That's a bit interesting, if you will. I mean, at this pace right now, the Falcons are on pace for over 20 shots. Mass Maritime looking for over 15 right now.
Great idea.
They're trying to push it forward, trying to methodically work their way upfield, but a Buccaneer getting in the way of that. Falcons ready to make a bunch of substitutions. Got 3 Falcons in yellow bibs ready to come in and exchange them. Can't at this moment. Buccaneer throw-in from midfield. The throw-in headed forward by Mass Maritime. Falcons trying to run it down.
Great seal by Lemus there.
Yeah, Lemus was trying to think if he wanted to try to clear that or if he wanted to push it back to Hannity to push it forward. But the latter might have been a bit dangerous, so he was able to turn around and get it away. As here is James David with the poke. Stealing it away. Now he'll send it downfield. Misplayed by Riley. Bordenaro trying to seize on that. And Riley has to push it away. They're not going to be able to run that down.
You would think that's a corner kick.
I would think, but it looks like... Yeah, I would think it is a corner, and it will be. Riley just trying to push it away. Funkhauser tried to run it down, couldn't pick it up before it went out. It was just a one misplay there, one hiccup, and the Falcons were ready to seize on it. So second corner of the day for the Falcons. Low one into the box, looking for a redirection, but it goes high and wide. The redirection, though, was off a Buccaneer foot, so the Falcons will have another go at it.
Perfect scenario. Look for a little more lift here. Hold off.
Same one again, this time kicked out of the box, but not out of bounds by Mass Maritime. Colin Shea trying to bloop it to the near side corner for Calvin LaRose, who's able to keep it in bounds. That one is kicked out of bounds by McDonough, and it's going to be another corner for the Falcons.
As I was saying before, the last corner they had on the far side of the field, the far corner.
Nope, they're not going to give the corner, actually.
Oh.
Looked like they were going to, but they've ruled it was off a Falcon foot instead.
Well, regardless, it was, I would say, about 6 inches. Had it been 6 inches lower, the perfect opportunity for a header instead of being headed away. So they're there. They're close. They're there.
Actually, considering where they put the ball forward, it was actually a foul against Fitchburg is what happened there. So that's why no corner. Lead pass there. They're looking for Smith, who's pushing towards the goal. Riley trying to run it down. Smith sticking right with them. Trying to get that space. Looking for a shot. Oh, driven just wide. Oh, wow. Wasn't even on goal, actually, as it went out of bounds on the near sideline.
From this angle, it looked good.
Looked like it was going towards the goal, and then it's like it didn't even go out of bounds on the goal line either. Funny how deceptive angles are, you know? That ball never went out of bounds. Now it finally does, and it's a Buccaneer throw-in. Can't believe that ball was able to skirt the line like that. And now here's some space to the goal, and oh, a nice tackle there. As Stuart Kinsman was breaking towards the goal, coming in at the last moment was James David to knock it away.
Very heads-up defensive play there, just coming out of nowhere. That'll motivate your team, so you're willing to lay it on the line. We have Freddie Falcon here. I believe it's Freddie.
Freddie the Falcon. Actually saw him yesterday, but I'll tell you that story in a moment. Corner kick now for the Buccaneers, and Hannity comes out to punch it away. Now knocked up in the air. But it's knocked out of bounds for a goal kick. I was in the game room at Hammond yesterday, and Freddie the Falcon came in giving out flyers for Family Weekend, trying to get everyone to come to the game and whatever. Handed one to me, too. It's like, but I'm already going to be here.
You mean to tell me that he does not know world-renowned commentator Daniel Bolak? That is a shock to me, first of all.
Well, maybe not yet. I mean, I have no idea. Whistle blows there. I believe a handball there. As Lemus was going to the ground, his hand just got stuck out there, touched the ball. It'll be a free kick.
And that is taboo. Of all the sports and all the rules in sports combined, I think hand touching the ball in soccer is probably the worst violation you could come up with. That's what I gather.
Asa Mills will have the free kick. Just bloops it into the box. He was looking for one of the Buccaneers to, get there, get their head on it, something, knock it down, getting the elevation and whatnot, but ended up putting a little too much oomph on it, and so it sailed over everyone and out. And so another goal kick for Handerty. Shot 7-6 in favor of the Falcons. 4 saves, though, for Aiden Handerty to 2 saves for Thomas Funkhauser. Ball goes out of bounds around midfield. Falcons will throw it in from there. About 13 minutes to go in the first half, the 32nd minute. Still no score. Robbs trying to send it upfield. Couldn't do so on the first effort. The second effort is off a Falcon. So the Buccaneers will earn a throw-in from the far side. Be headed forward by the Buccaneers. Lemus trying to run it down. He'll head it towards the goal. That's a smart move because you head it towards the goal, then Handerty can pick it up.
Really?
Yep. As that's not... The rule is, like that pass right there, Handerty can't pick that up because it's a directed pass with the foot. But if you head it towards the goal or chest it towards the goal, that's not exactly a directed pass. And so the goalkeeper is allowed to pick that up.
Even if it hits the ground?
Even then. And, of course, if the ball hits a Buccaneer before it gets to Handerty, then he can pick it up regardless of how it got there. So throw in for Mass Maritime from the near side. That ball has been very uncooperative in going out of bounds when Mass Maritime hits it. It always takes an extra couple of hops before it goes out, so the Falcons lose ground on their own field. Zach Tracy throws it in. It's headed up in the air. Smith keeps it in. That is off of McDonough and out, I believe. McDonough didn't buy that, but that's what the official was given, so... That's what it looked like to me, too. Although I may be slightly biased. Zach Tracy throws it in, looking for Brett Smith, trying to get it for Nick Massley. Found a Buccaneer defender instead who'll push it back. Tracy to midfield. Not getting a lot of that was Lemus. And now lead pass 2-on-2. Kinsman trying to bloop that in the air for Parker. Parker and Shea, 9-on-9 battling. Lots of handwork there, but nonetheless, no whistles given. And the Falcons were able to get it out of there. Towards midfield, but sent back by Mass Maritime, headed forward by the Falcons. On the far side, Buccaneers can't keep it in bounds. Trying to make the play there was Maccabee. Of course, noted that Mass Maritime has 6 defenders in their lineup, but then again, Nick Parker, who we've seen playing up as a forward all game long, is listed as a defender, so some of those may be deceptive. Foot stuck out there, as going to the ground was Mitchell Thompson. Free kick coming for the Buccaneers. 35th minute of action. Still no score. Both teams doing a solid job keeping the ball in the middle third of the field. That pass, a little too much oomph there for Thompson. Out of bounds it goes. Goal kick for the Falcons. Looking at a couple other statistics, as we said, shots 7-6 in favor of the Falcons. Shots on goal are 4-2 in favor of Mass Maritime. Falcons have 3 of the 4 corners in this contest. Each team dinged for an offside, and the Falcons guilty of one more infraction than the Buccaneers, 5-4. That one sent into the box, but there are no Falcons there to pick it up, and so Funkhauser will have it.
Doing a solid job. Falcons still getting a lot of good looks, looking for those crosses, looking for those through passes. They just have to ramp up the intensity a little more. It seems like Mass Maritime's spending a little bit more time on their half of the field, more so than they were in the first half of the first half.
Yeah.
Or the first 30 minutes or so, I should say. So not quite half, but...
Yeah, you definitely get the feeling that Mass Maritime has had a little more time of possession here. Falcons throw it in right to Handerty. He'll push it for Lemus, who will try to send it downfield. He finds Jared Burns. McDonough on him. Gets it to the middle of the field.
And when you have Jared Burns on this side of the field, you know that the defense is not translating well into offensive possession.
To the top of the box. Kinsman trying to get some time. Wants to take a shot. It's blocked. And Hanratty will pick it up.
This could be their opportunity to get truly a reset here.
I believe that was Lemus going down to block the shot. Sticking the feet out. Hanratty driving it downfield, 10 yards past midfield, headed down by Thompson. Ball continues to bounce around. This one to the near side. Buck's trying to keep it in. Thompson was able to keep it in, and Masley has to kick it out. Thrown in, kept in by Burns. But they push it forward for Parker. Whistle blows. Parker guilty of the push there on Zach Tracy. No cards in this game despite the physicality. Mass Maritime's not exactly known for it. 6 games, they've had 3 yellows and a red. The Falcons in 9 games have 8 yellows and 2 reds. Wow. That one driven downfield, but well out of bounds. Dimitri Strunken had a better chance on that ball than anyone else. Throw-in coming for the Buccaneers. They've definitely had a lot more in the time of possession. The last Falcons shot was a while ago. Just looking at the line score. Trying to find their last one, but I have to go back a while, at least 10 minutes. In any case, Mass Maritime trying to push forward here. The Falcons not having any of it.
Great pass.
Kept in. Thompson, centered, blocked. Trying again. Contact at the top of the box. The whistle goes. It's against Mass Maritime. Falcons play on. Jared Burns, lead pass. Deflected out by McDonough.
They've got an opportunity here to live on the Mass Maritime side of the field for a little bit as the half begins to enter its waning minutes.
Jimenez for Masley. Now, there's a shot towards the goal, and Funkhauser didn't even have to move, but he still set his feet, made the save. That's the first shot attempt the Falcons have had since the 25th minute, and the first shot on goal they've had since the 18th. Funkhauser will have his 3rd save of the game in the 39th minute. Falcon running in, heading that one away. A little more physicality there. Is getting the foot up there to try to kick it forward was James David, but the foot a little too high. And the foul given.
And we've seen that a lot. A lot of competition going for these neutral balls.
Both teams are off to excellent starts this year. They want the 3 points. That one right towards the goal. No one able to get in the way of that one for Mass Maritime. And so a catch for Hanratty. And he drives this one high and deep into downfield. Push forward there by the Falcons, but it's knocked back by the Buccaneers. Falcons ready to make a few more substitutions. Try to get fresh legs on for the last couple of minutes. Knocking that down there was Killian Simpson. He pushed back by the Falcons and around. I've not seen Connor Scarponi on the field for Mass Maritime. In the limited time, he's the leading scorer. He's got 2 goals and an assist. Buccaneers pushing forward. Slide there. The slide tackle there by James David. And another slide to keep it out of bounds. Keep it from going out at midfield.
Pulling out all the stops today, wouldn't you say, Dan?
Oh, no doubt. So the Falcons will make a bunch of substitutions here. Get a fresh set of legs on there for the last few minutes of this first half. See Sam Nickerson. I see Emiliano Cespedes. It's a couple of them. Ibra Callan I see on there as well. Very different Falcon look here to close out the first 45. That one sent right towards the goal. Hanratty picks that one up. Bolduck it into the game as well. Falcons send it downfield. Pushed back Cespedes. He wants to find Callan. Has to go backwards. David for Cespedes. He'll leave it. Pushed forward there by Nickerson. Falcons still making their way upfield. Nickerson. That long pass downfield blocked. Falcons try to keep that in. They can't do it this time. Seems like they've been doing a lot of sliding, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe some tips from the baseball team. That one knocked high in the air. It's going to stay in bounds.
But
Go ahead.
I apologize.
Let's see. Callan to the center of the field wanted Hofer. That one didn't go far enough. They send it forward. Bolduc sends it back to midfield. Masley back for Zach Tracy. Lead pass wants Jimenez. Can't find him. Second effort. Hofer near side now. He was on the far side earlier. Cespedes into the box. He's trying to spring a Falcon lurking there. Couldn't do so. Here's Bolduc. Knocked out of bounds by Simpson. No, they're not going to say it was Simpson. Thought it was. It isn't. McDonough will have the throw-in with 2:40 to go in the first half. Headed forward. Knocked out of bounds. It wasn't Dylan Jones getting ahead on it, but he tried to get ahead on it. Better for the Buccaneers that he didn't. They'll advance. McDonough looking for someone. But it'll be headed back by the Falcons. Here's Jimenez. Give and go.
Could use another one. Could use another one here.
Mills getting his hand in there. And so the foul is given. I imagine there might have been a couple of Falcons fans who didn't like that the whistle was given, thinking they might have the advantage still, but nonetheless, it's a free kick from a little over 40 yards out. Zach Tracy will take it. 44th minute.
What do you make of that gap given up by Funkhauser? Oh, never mind.
He's just trying to reposition. That one sent nice curve to the top of the box. Both teams trying to get their heads on it. Hofer trying to get in front of that ball. Go to the near side corner. Stumbles to the ground. Wanted a call, it didn't come.
Yeah, but at this point you can't stay down waiting for that call. If you don't get it, you got to get up in that position because you're extremely close to regaining it.
Oh, give and go there. Jimenez. Turnaround shot was blocked. Nice play by Cespedes. And now here's Nickerson. He wants Ibra Callan, but he can't find him. Goes out of bounds. So we approach the 45th and final minute of the first half. Falcons definitely seem to seize a bit of momentum there with those substitutions. Cespedes, Callan, Nickerson, we haven't seen too much of them in the early games, but they're getting some good playing time here. I mean, coming in with the fresh legs, and they're overpowering the players who haven't got them. Stephen Luna comes in for Josh Hofer.
But you have to wonder why. What is the difference in strategy between Mass Maritime and Fitchburg that Fitchburg is doing this in the final moments, but Mass Maritime isn't to keep pace?
Well, Fitchburg's made those substitutions, and Mass Maritime hasn't. That's one way of putting it, if it's the fresh legs. Hanratty will try to drive this as far down as he can. Didn't get a lot on this one, though. Oh, there was a forearm shiver given there. Everybody wants a call on Killian Simpson. Nothing will come. Not like they had a lot of time left anyway. 3 seconds left in the half. Mass Maritime kicks it down one last time. Bolduc knocks it back, and time has expired. Here.
And what was a very interesting first half, to say the least.
Indeed, it definitely got closed up rather quickly there. But we go into halftime. The score, Fitchburg 0, Mass Maritime 0. Shots are 9 apiece in the first half. I mean, we had a very even matchup. These are two teams that on paper look pretty similar. Both play similar strategies, both play similar games, and of course, both got similar results.
Exactly, and it's going to be out of those two similar, as you said, cut from the same cloth, out of those two teams, who is going to emerge on the more specific, on the finer details of the game. So, for example, we saw the Falcons doing a much better job in transition, not allowing it to go past the 30-yard line. They lived in Mass Maritime zone for a majority of the first half, and it's ultimately going to be who can capitalize on those quality shots that both teams are getting. We're going to see what fresh legs can do for both teams in the second half.
Yeah, both teams definitely had a lot of periods of sustained pressure in the other one's half of the field. And, of course, there was a lot of pressure in the middle third as well. We saw a lot of back and forth, a lot of teams trying to push, a lot of guys trying to push forward, but nonetheless, it's interesting to see. It's like both teams are holding solid through 45 minutes. Hannerty's shutout streak now has reached 500 minutes.
Wow.
Very impressive. I mean, and of course, we saw some of the Mass Maritime goaltending. As we said, 3 times out of 4 this year, Funkhauser has given way to Joe Cohen in the second half, who's put forth pretty much the same numbers as Funkhauser. You wonder will we see Mass Maritime do that? Will we see them go with a different keeper, or will they stay with Funkhauser? That's a question to be had there. Funkhauser had a pretty good half, but we don't really know enough about Mass Maritime's strategy. I guess I'm just throwing this one out here, you know?
Oh, no, and it definitely deserves looking at. I mean, you mentioned Cohen was named Player of the Week last week, was it?
Yep.
But the way that Funkhauser is playing, why disrupt the flow? Why fix it if it isn't broken? If you want to play with that and you get a great performance out of Cohen, that's a plus. But if not, and Funkhauser's already in a groove and you take him out, then people are going to be looking at you like, what are you doing right now? So regardless, I think the Falcons, regardless of who's in net, they got to keep getting those quality shots, got to keep getting those quality passes, and I think they'll have an opportunity to steal this game.
Yep, although at least if they take Funkhauser out in favor of Cohen, at least they've set precedent for it.
Right.
In any case, though, both teams have played pretty solid soccer here in the opening 45. And so, like I said, we are getting a nice defensive struggle, a nice display of defense and goalkeeping. The Falcons' defense, so many times they slid out there, breaking up plays. I mean, they're stepping up for their keeper, no doubt about it.
Well, it's like we talked about earlier. It's doing the little things. You know, whether it's sliding out, whether you're at midfield, or whether you're, at the end line. If you're doing it at midfield, they're not getting a chance to even come near Henry. And if you're doing it at the end line, you're keeping it clean from attempts to him as well. So doing all the little things in all the right places and all the right times is going to add up for this team.
Indeed. So it is halftime here at Elliott Field. We're going to take a break. The first game of this triple header here on Family Weekend from Elliott Field. It is Fitchburg State 0, Mass Maritime 0. We'll be back in about 10 minutes or so with some stats in the start of the second half, so don't go away. This is Falcon Sports on MassCAC.tv. Welcome back, folks. Start of the second half here at Elliott Field on the campus of Fitchburg State University. Daniel Bolak, Paul Faria, Greg Bell on camera. We all thank you for joining us here today on Falcon Sports on MassCAC.tv.
Very excited for the start of this second half, Dan. Really looking forward to seeing how this is going to play out, how this is going to finish up. I guess there's not always a winner, but you'd like to think there's going to be a winner. It's just a matter of how it's going to unfold. And very excited to watching it do so.
Yep. Shots were 9-9 in the first half. Shots on 6-3 in favor of Mass Maritime. Six saves for Aiden Handery, 3 saves for Thomas Funkhauser. But as we alluded to at halftime, the Buccaneers have made the goaltending change. Joe Cohen is in now for the Buccaneers.
Needless to say, despite the fact that they've been maintaining consistency with it all the year, I am shocked that they're doing it in this game with this environment.
It's just the way they've done things this year, so I guess it's just a matter of that. As Asa Mills goes low, try to squeak through the wall and try to get a one-timer in front, but the Falcons got there first.
Beautiful pass. Beautiful pass.
Indeed. Out off of Asa Mills, throw in to the near side. Sorrentino for Smith, now trying to push forward for Bordenaro. Couldn't get to it. Riley will clear it. And around now for McCarthy. Send it to midfield. Stumbling to the ground, there was a bit of push there, but going down there was Connor McInnes. Led the Buccaneers in the first half with 3 shots, all on goal. Fouls were about even, too, 7-6 in favor of the Buccaneers. Although you don't want to be in favor of that stat. Free kick now for Mass Maritime. Off the head of Connor Nealand, out of bounds. It will be a corner for the Buccaneers, their second of the game. Falcons had 3 in the first half. Both teams were offside once as well. So it's like, if we have a goal in this contest, how is it going to come? That's going to be a great question to answer.
That's what I was alluding to at the start of the second half, is what's going to happen. Ultimately, I don't think we're going to see anything differently than what we saw in the first half in terms of goal-scoring opportunities. I just think that we're going to see better execution and better capitalization is the word I'm looking for.
That one sent back into the box. Hannerty will make the play on it. Low booming kick to midfield. It's Emiliano Cespedes who stays into the game. He came in late in the first half, provided a nice spark of energy, and so he'll stay on. That one's sent forward there. That was Massley. And Sam Nickerson stays out there as well. So the Falcons going with a few different guys here, but like I said, we had that spark of intensity at the end of the first half, so some of the guys who didn't crack the starting 11, they stay in the game. And they seem to be doing a fairly good job thus far.
And that's something we saw Regis do a lot a few days ago, was make a lot of switches towards the end of the half.
Wonder if the Falcons pilfered some moves from there.
Yeah.
Some interesting lessons to learn, if you will. So now the Falcons trying to bring it upfield. That is Cespedes. Trying to keep it away. Gets it from Massley to the far side. Falcons trying to find some space. Having trouble doing so.
Interception.
Yep. Taken away there by Jake Seufert as they were looking for Nickerson. Nice bump, though, from Nickerson to knock Seufert off the ball. Now Colin Shea for Tom Sorrentino. Sorrentino drives it downfield to the box, and Cohen will pick it up, just beating Jared Burns in the race.
Can we agree on this? High energy, high intensity afternoon by Jared Burns, yet high frustration to go with that.
Parker trying to cross it. That's off a foot, still loose. Nudge towards the goal. It's a corner. Second corner of the half for Mass Maritime, third of the game. Mass Maritime seems to have a bit of the early pressure here in this second half, trying to push for that goal. And so here is the corner kick. It's a low one. The Falcons will knock it out on one touch. Buccaneers try to bring it back in and immediately flushed out and sent to midfield. Last man back is Riley, poked away by Burns. Burns continues to push it forward. Bordenaro trying to run it down, but getting there first was Stephen Maccabee, who kicks it out. Maccabee can't kick it out. It's big trouble for the Buccaneers. Throw in for Cespedes. Couldn't handle it. But he blocks that pass downfield, and now here is Bordenaro flipping it up in the air into the box. Burns battling there. A lot of pushing and shoving with McDonough. Goes out of, no, it doesn't go out of bounds, but Brett Smith keeps it in. Falcons on the far side, trying to work their way up. Cespedes surrounded, he has to go back. And it's taken away. Two players go to the ground. The foul will be given, and Mass Maritime will get the free kick. Fourth foul in this half, third against Fitchburg. 51st minute of action at Elliott Field. No score, shots now 10-9 in favor of Mass Maritime. Still 6 saves for Hanratty. That's headed down by the Buccaneers. But Bullduck standing tall and knocking the ball away. And so now, Mass Maritime throw in from the far side. It's knocked out. They couldn't handle it. Falcons will have the throw in now. It'll be Nealand. Runs it up. He was looking for Cespedes. Found a different head. Cespedes, Bordenaro on the far side. Couldn't make a play on it. Riley now for the Buccaneers. I very nearly called them the Mariners, as I have done so many times in previous games against this team.
I did not want to point it out, but you made it a point at the beginning of the game not to do that, so I almost wanted to take advantage of that opportunity to say, Dan, come on, Dan.
Yeah. Thought I was going to be good enough to not enforce a swear jar on myself.
That's quite all right.
So, Mass Maritime will have this. It will be a free kick on the foul against Fitchburg. Like I said, they've been guilty of quite a few infractions already in this second half. Asa Mills will have this one. Sorrentino is the wall. They get it around Sorrentino, looking for a Buccaneer to try to send it towards the goal. Now second effort. That Buccaneer was McInnes. But Mass Maritime can't do anything with it, but they still persist. But the Falcons send it back to midfield. Riley sending it back forward, though. Off ahead, and Hanratty gets to it. As there was a Buccaneer coming in trying to make something out of that. Buccaneers end up heading it towards their goal. At this point, they're just going to let it roll to Joe Cohen.
At this point, we really got to see the Falcons neutralize that pressure in their zone.
Is it just me, or when Cohen do a drop kick, he lets the ball hit the ground first?
I completely looked away just as he kicked the ball. I started looking toward midfield to spot it.
Yeah, I mean, he's had 2 drop kicks now. It looks like both times they've been low kicks, and they look like they're hitting the ground first, and then he's kicking it. It's very unorthodox. In any case, Mass Maritime with more pressure upfield. Setting the cross off ahead. Hanratty plays the bounce, and he's just going to chuck it right back into play. He's not going to wait. Sorrentino had a lot of space. A lane all day. That pass, though, misses Smith, but might find Cespedes, but he wasn't able to get to it. Asa Mills.
Not sure what Smith was doing there. Was he trying to get ahead of the game and get back into position, or did he?
Not exactly sure either. Falcons are able to knock it away, and Smith will have it now.
Oh.
Nice tackle, though, by the Buccaneers. For an offside. I mean, that was a lot of force on that tackle, too. Was able to knock the ball downfield, but the Buccaneers were ahead of the play at that exact moment.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
That's all you can hope for is if you're a Falcon right now.
Hanratty will take the free kick 30 yards from his goal.
That's a boot.
He's been apt to do 30 to 30 there. It's a 60-yard kick. Now here's Bordenaro. There was a loose ball there. Sorrentino knew he couldn't get there. Sent downfield. Nickerson can't make a play on it. Didn't make a play on it. Looked like the assistant was not sure if Nickerson made a play on it, was going to defer to the official, the referee, who felt that he hadn't made a play on it. So Falcon throwing, but in any case, here come the Buccaneers. A shot right to the goal by Parker. Goes wide.
And Hanratty came out further than I would have expected there. That could have been popped over his head. But nonetheless, errant shot, and Hanratty taking a goal kick.
Parker has 2 goals on the year. Him and Scarponi lead the team in goal scoring. So both teams haven't given up too many goals, and they haven't scored that many either. Mauro Jimenez leads the Falcons with 4 goals. Substitutions now. First of the second half, I should say, for the Buccaneers. The Falcons have not tested Joe Cohen yet, as we are in the 56th minute. Looks like Parker and McInnes are going to take a breather. Stuart Kinsman's into the game. He's back in. We'll get the other one in a moment as Cespedes tries to find Sorrentino. He does.
Great through pass.
That one needed 2 efforts. In the end, Mass Maritime sends it downfield. We're trying to make a play on it is Kinsman, but Shea gets in the way of him. Shea back for Nickerson. Tries to send that downfield for Sorrentino.
Wow.
That just barely stayed in bounds. Battling there with Seufert. Robs. And now, pushing and shoving behind the play, Sorrentino and Seufert had some words for each other, and a tackle on the far side of the field as Nealon takes down a Buccaneer and the whistle blows. Well, lots of intensity coming now.
You know, you mentioned it before, Dan. You mentioned it before the Regis game. We were looking ahead to this conference matchup, high-intensity conference matchup, and you said, you know what? This is going to be a chippy game. And I didn't understand why, and it's been clean. We saw Hanratty help up a player earlier in the game, but now as the game progresses and it's still 0-0 and the pressure's mounting, I'm starting to fully understand your perspective on this.
I mean, there's a lot of intensity here, and as Bordenaro and Mills get a talking to from the referees, informing, I guess, expectations, if you will. They want to cool it down, I believe the officials do.
The word of the referee doesn't always slow things down, but we're going to see how much of an impact it has here, that's for sure.
Buccaneers will have a free kick, about 30 yards from the goal. Looks like it's Mills taking it. By the way, lots of substitutions ready to come into this game. We'll get to that when we get there, as the free kick ends up going high and wide, a little too much oomph, a little offline. And now here comes the plethora of substitutions. 6 players coming in here. 4 for the Falcons. So it looks like it is... well, we'll get them when we get there. Steven Martinez is into the game, back in for the Falcons. Looked like James David's back in. As now it's pushed to midfield. Josh Hofer in. Nickerson. Hofer. At midfield, knocks it down. Lemus. Looks like he's back in as well, unless he was always in. Knocked back downfield. Falcons battling, pushing on the far side. I mean, you just know that these teams, they leave it all out in the field for these games. Offside, but it was kicked out of bounds.
Yes, they do, Dan, and that's what makes them all the more interesting to watch. It's what makes them more exciting to watch, and not only that, but this is high-quality play. I'm feeling it from this game. We got a lot on the line. We got a 5-0 team. We got a 4-4 team who looks to certainly be on the rise in the MASCAC. So there's a lot on the line, trying to establish position, jockey for position, so that hopefully late in the season they're in the best position to take a stranglehold of the division coming into the tournament.
I mean, to be honest, the whole conference has been turned on its head this year. I mean, Framingham just got their first win a couple days ago. Salem is still winless. I don't know if anyone would have been able to tell you that was going to happen. And Fitchburg State and Mass Maritime playing in this game here, both of them jockeying for the pole position in the conference. Fitchburg came 6th last year. Mass Maritime was 7th.
Really?
Yeah. And in fact, the Falcons with a win against Salem State, who was the best team in the conference in the regular season last year. On the last day of the season, when the Falcons beat Salem, they got into the playoffs at the expense of Mass Maritime. It's incredible to believe how much of a turnaround these two teams have had thus far, especially the Buccaneers. They're off to their best start in a long time as a foul is called against the Buccaneers.
Well, I think a lot of it, I can't speak for the Buccaneers. I'm not as familiar with them, but in terms of the Falcons, I mean, you got to think of the carryover from last year to this year, certainly under great leadership. Colin Shays Jr. was a captain, so they have that leadership that has remained constant, and they've brought in a lot of talented players. We've seen freshmen like Jared Burns contribute early on. So I think that largely they need a lot of little things to happen at the same time, the right way, when they have this big of a turnaround, but I look for it to continue.
Lead pass to the box. Bordenaro knocking it back. He wanted to find Burns, but that was offline. Deflected offline by a Buccaneer. Falcon throw-in. It'll be Neeland. And so now, bouncing around, James David, the middle of Buccaneer territory. A shot towards the goal. It's over the net. But that's the first shot the Falcons have had in this half, and it came 17 minutes into it.
It's about time.
I know one other way that, looking up some articles on Mass Maritime, I remember reading that as part of their best start in a while, they beat the Coast Guard Academy, and apparently it's like in 23 meetings, that was the first time they'd ever done that.
Really?
So that's one way to show how much they've really turned it around this year. And they've played a great defensive game here. They've played very well. Here's Dylan Jones. Only a defender to beat, but he can't beat him. It's Blaine Bolduck who stood tall there. McCarthy trying to fire a shot. That got blocked. Another shot. Trying to knock it into the box. Kinsman can't play the bounce. Tried to get a read on the field turf, and the field turf said no to that. Kept in bounds. Hofer can't make a play on it.
Well, Dan, also the general consensus among both of us has been that these goaltenders have to be credited with a large amount of why this team has had a lot of success. And if you look at it, they're both freshmen. So really the first year they've had this kind of solidity at goalkeeper.
I mean, we're also seeing the fact that both of them are getting playing time today. I said coming into the game, 3 goaltenders in the conference with a save percentage above .900 and a goals against under 3/5, and all 3 of them are in this game today. Foul call against Fitchburg, and this is going to be a dangerous free kick. This may be one of the best chances that either team's had today. From 30 yards out, a free kick for the Buccaneers. The Falcons have been dinked with way too many fouls in the second half. But, that's the intensity. That's a side effect.
Now, look, it looks like they're going with a decoy kicker again as well.
It is Rob's Asa Mills. And there it is. It'll be Rob's taking it, and it goes over the net.
Great save. Not much when you can do when there's a 6'4" goalkeeper in there. Not much is going to get over his fingertips. But he did a great job ensuring that it didn't get squeezed by and let it get over.
Yeah, Hanratty couldn't hold on to it, and he pushed it over the crossbar. But if he isn't able to get that high, that probably slips through. So it really, even though it comes in a corner, it's still for the better. That was an excellent shot by Rob Robbs. He tried to sneak it on the crossbar and very nearly did so. It's exactly what they were looking for. And so now the corner for the Buccaneers. This one's low. Wow, look how high in the air Thompson went there, trying to keep that going. But besides that, though, the Falcons are able to get it out of there. And Hofer clears it. He finds Bordenaro. Bordenaro is going to try to spring a Falcon who's onside there.
Beautiful pass.
Trying to get around, but some good defense there. But did McDonough do a little too much? No, it was Burns called for the foul. With the amount of intensity in this game, I'm actually surprised we haven't had a card yet.
Certainly.
65th minute here, Elliott Field, no score. Shots 14-10 now in favor of Mass Maritime.
Don't let them keep knocking on the door. Don't let them keep knocking on the door.
Some substitutions to be made here as well. I can see Sam Nickerson coming off for the Falcons. Calvin LaRose comes back in. He started. They also stopped the clock for all the substitutions. Might have been something else, too, that I was missing as well.
Certainly. Well, Dan, at this moment in time, what do you think is going to be the turning point in this game, if we have any at all?
That's a good question. I mean, there's a good point there. Are we going to have a turning point? Is it going to be someone just taking it a step too far, getting a card, or whatever, leading to a free kick from a dangerous position like Robs took just a moment ago?
You know, I almost have to believe that at this point this game is going to come down to who can make the most vital mistake. You know, because both of them are getting good looks, so it's not as much who can capitalize, it's who's going to make the mistake that's going to spring the other team. Because as you saw there, quality shot by Robs. So they're both getting really good looks on top of their game, but who's going to be the mistake that just allows that slippage, just allows that leakage, the wrong moment, to allow the other team to take the lead?
Substitution came in for the Falcons. Maura Jimenez in for Carmen Bordenaro. That one out of bounds in favor of the Falcons. Throw in from the far side. Thrown in, knocked back by Mass Maritime. Trying to push it forward here. Bolduc not going to let him take the cross. And the defender falls on Bolduc. He tried to grab him to stay afloat. But down to the ground he went. In any case, ball out on the Falcons. Another throw in for the Buccaneers. It is a beautiful day here at Elliott Field, too.
Truly is.
Highs in the mid-70s today, I believe. The sun's come out to play. As that one, a low kick into the box, and another corner coming. Mass Maritime has had, I think this is their fourth corner of the half. That's as many corners we had in the first half for both teams.
The body language right now is a little shaky for the Falcons.
Yeah, the momentum is slipping away from them. So, fifth corner kick for Mass Maritime. That one's not bad either. Knocked up in the air. Dangerous in the box. Players falling over each other. In the end, it just rolls out of bounds on the near side. 30 yards from goal. As I joked today, a lot of mosh pits in the box today. And now here's a lead pass. Hofer's onside if he can make something of it, but he trips over the ball instead. But he has possession still. Pokes it through Riley's legs, but there's nobody there for the Falcons to pick it up. Seufert has it picked by Martinez. Lead pass for Jimenez. Jimenez needs to get around two defenders. Can he do so?
He does. Oh.
Shot is just high.
Gets a little too much lift there. You know, Cohen's another one, 6'2". That's not too shabby.
6'2", a couple inches taller than Thomas Funkhauser, who's 6 feet tall. Handerty's the tallest player on the field today for either squad, 6'4".
Looks like we got a player down here, Dan.
That was Hofer. We just saw him stumble over the ball a moment ago. Maybe he might have caught something in the field turf, might be what actually happened, but it looks like he's got a cramp. So Falcon goes to fix that. 21:54 to go in regulation time. No score, shots 14-11 in favor of the Buccaneers. Cohen has not had to make a save yet for Mass Maritime. Despite the 11 shots from the Falcons, only 3 have been on target. And for Mass Maritime, they've done a good job getting shots on target. They've got 2 this half, 8 in total, as Aiden Hanratty continues to play exceptional ball.
Absolutely, you know, he's done a great job. To be honest, I think at this point, the more that the ball ends up in his hands, the better shot that they have at maintaining an offensive possession, just because he can cut down so much of the work that these defenders have to do going into transition. It's almost like taking a shortcut, really, to be honest. So the more that he gets to kick the ball, the more that he gets to create placement and create opportunities, I think the better off this team's going to be on offense, because right now they're having a really, really tough time sustaining pressure on these guys.
Mass Maritime is starting to... They're getting the battering ram out is what they're trying to do, but on that last play, wow, tried to throw in very short to himself is what LaRose tried to do, try to catch Kinsman off guard. It didn't work. Hanratty's got to boot that away, and he will send it to the far side of the field. Buccaneers run up there. David, middle of the field. Lemus sending it downfield, looking for Hofer Jimenez, but it was in between the both of them, and found a Buccaneer defender.
Nobody to go to right now.
Mass Maritime starting to clog those lanes and do a better job of it, like what Regis did on Wednesday night. To midfield, Hofer just got ahead on it. Buccaneers will just run it down. They'll make 2 substitutions here.
Substitution.
So it is Kinsman and Jones who will come off, and I think Nick Parker's probably... This sounds like a good time for him to come back on. Push in the back there called. Also coming back on, Connor McInnes. So Parker and McInnes, as we said, those are 2 dangerous weapons for Mass Maritime, and they're on now. Coming back in the 70th minute. Asa Mills, after the Falcon foul, take that right from midfield. Bounced up in the air. It's pushed forward. Another push. Dangerous there. Hanratty with the knee made the save. Second effort. Still loose in the box. Hanratty leaping up in the air on that last save, and it went off of his knee.
And then they got lucky. They got a block in the box. They got a block. The defender just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
It's getting too close for comfort, you'd have to think. Buccaneers go short on this one. And now setting another cross, Hanratty. He'll make the catch. Boot it back in. Seufert knocks it down. Jimenez. They stopped play a while ago. As there was a Buccaneer down in the Falcon box. No wonder why there wasn't that much resistance.
I was going to say, where's the intensity here in this offensive attack?
They want the trainer out. So, yeah, someone went down on that last exchange there.
Trying to figure it out who it is.
Yep, I don't have a good angle on it. But he is up on his feet now and is walking off. As always, you hope he's all right. And that was Thomas McCarthy, the freshman midfielder from Tybee Island, Georgia. So we hope McCarthy's all right. 19:21 to go regulation time. Still no score. Henry up to 9 saves now. I think the biggest problem for the Falcons right now, they've been taking way too many fouls.
Yeah, that definitely, and that's allowing Mass Maritime to maintain possession. It's also killing any shot at momentum Falcons have. They are playing really good defense, though, I will say that.
6 fouls in the second half for the Falcons compared to just 3 for the Buccaneers. Burns trying to run that down the far side. He cannot keep it in bounds.
And Burns is somebody that we really haven't seen get involved much in this half. First half, he was creating a lot of opportunities, taking a lot of good shots. And this half, he's been extremely dormant. We also mentioned that the more that we have to see him on our side of the field, on the Falcon zone, is not a good thing.
Volduck just heading it out of bounds. Buccaneers breathing down his neck. There wasn't much else he could do. And yet another corner for Mass Maritime. And so this one up in the air. Falcons able to knock it down. Shea tries to clear it. It goes off a Buccaneer foot out of bounds. The Falcons will have the goal kick. And they'll make 3 more substitutions. We'll get those across in a moment. Hannerty with the goal kick. Gets it towards midfield. Mass Maritime's done a good job pushing it back. And now one Falcon bowls over another. And they say play on. And here's a lead pass, but Hofer's offside. And he was. The flag came up a little late, but he was ahead.
And there's that body language again, Dan. You know, I agree with you. I agree with the call, but they just got to move on and keep playing. We've seen Hofer, especially he went down earlier in the half and just stayed down. Like, at this point in the game, you cannot afford to give the opponent little advantages, and showing that weakness is giving them an advantage.
Indeed. Sorrentino, Tracy, and Smith in for Burns, Neeland, and Lemus. So Burns is going to get a breather here.
Wonder maybe if he ran out of gas a little bit, getting tired, but
a little winded, or maybe Mass Maritime's figured him out.
Yeah.
In any case, change up the personnel. Tracy, that goes out of bounds. As I said coming into this game, we had a very realistic possibility of seeing a scoreless tie. Well, around here, clock stopping here, I wonder. Oh, it's a Falcon that's down, actually, is what it is. That was
Tracy.
Zach Tracy. Pounded the ground in frustration there as well. Try to walk it off, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that. Could just be a cramp, though, or... Now the trainers will come here. Tracy's back on his feet now. Get a word and see if he's all right. It's been a battle of attrition this game, too. We've seen quite a few players go down with injuries. It's the fourth one, I think. $16:34 to go, regulation time. No score between the Falcons and Buccaneers.
You know, it's always easier, no matter who you are. You're a spectator, you're a commentator, broadcaster. It's always easier to watch them doing the cardio and the work, but when you're actually them, you don't realize how tough it is until you actually do it. So there's no doubt that this game has been physically taxing on all of their bodies.
No doubt. Out of bounds off a Falcon again. How many times have the Falcons thrown in from this far downfield? Now trying to spring Jimenez. McDonough got to the ball first.
Let's see a little bit of pressure here.
Hofer tried to block the clearing pass. Couldn't do so, and it goes to midfield. Falcons have to bring it back up. Hofer cannot keep it in, and it rolled out anyway.
That was the best offensive series they've had in a while.
The Falcons have just struggled to get anything towards the goal. No saves yet for Joe Cohen, only 3 for Tom Funkhauser in the first half. Martinez looking for Hofer. Hofer trying to pull something there.
Oh,
You had to give that, and they will.
it's about time. I don't understand how 21 can be shocked by that unless he's mad at himself.
Yeah, Jake Seufert, he grabbed Hofer's arm, 21 on 21 there. And that one was, from this angle, kind of obvious, although they had their backs to the referee, so it may not have looked that obvious, but still, the foul was given, and rightfully so. So here's a good chance for the Falcons now from under 40 out as we enter the 76th minute. Still scoreless. Will the Falcons be able to test Joe Cohen here? David knocks it up, but it's headed back by the Buccaneers. Out of bounds. Falcons will throw it in. It is Sorrentino who will do it from the far side. No, he won't. Connor Nealand instead.
Less than 15 minutes to go.
Right as they were going to throw it in, substitutions were going to be made. So they'll have to do that again. This time after the substitutions. 1 for each team. Nick Massley in for James David. Dylan Buckborough back in for Taylor Schoberg. So now we'll have the throw in. Towards the box. Nothing but blue shirts there. But now, Jimenez trying to make something. And he gets a shot to the goal. But Joe Cohen gets to watch it go wide yet again.
That's quite all right. At least you got to get something off. Isn't that, correct me if I'm wrong, second or third shot attempt, let alone on goal, just their attempt?
Yeah, it's the third shot this half. Jimenez has taken 2 of them. He might have taken all 3. Trying to persevere, trying to find a way through. Schoberg keeps it in bounds, and it goes off the foot of LaRose. And out, Schoberg will have the throw-in. The official says Schoberg's taking too much space there. Now he'll throw it in. Going back to push forward. McInnes. A push and a shove there. That one goes against McInnes. See, I can sense some sarcastic applause from the Falcon faithful there. It's like a call that went against Mass Maritime in the Falcon end.
Wow.
That's the impression they're giving off there.
Yeah.
So Hanratty will take this. Gets headed back by the Buccaneers. But Massley back for Bolduc. Guess they'll have to do that again. Hanratty for LaRose. He'll go short there. LaRose has a lot of space. Shea. Long lead pass. Everyone will be onside, except it's too long for anyone to get. Joe Cohen will pick it up. Now let's see how he kicks this ball.
Yep.
It does hit the ground before he makes contact with it. I pointed that out so long ago, and it took that long for him to get another opportunity to show it. Out of bounds. Falcons will throw in from their own half of the field. But before that, more substitutions. Jimenez and Hofer will come off.
Sorrentino coming back in the game. This is a move that I really, really like for the Falcons. Sorrentino is definitely a spark plug on this team. Extremely good with the ball. Not only that, he's extremely good at creating space and allowing an opportunity for the person with the ball to find him. So I like this move offensively for the Falcons.
Vornaro also back in as well.
And that's another plus.
Buccaneers bring it up the far side of the field. It's the corner. They have to knock it out. 11 minutes left.
I apologize. Just to be clear, there will be an overtime period in this game, or
If we don't have a goal or we're level through 90, we'll have 2 halves, 10 minutes.
Sudden death?
Yep. Shea able to head it out. So the Buccaneers backed up a bit. Another throw in. Falcons trying to push it away. Bordenaro trying to take it away. Buccaneers get it back to the decor. And it'll be Riley sending it forward. Misplayed by Shea, but LaRose backs him up. Knocking it up in the air. And now Massley sends it downfield. Long way downfield. Riley's going to get to it first. He'll kick it out.
We've seen that a couple times in this half. Is the Buccaneers trailing down a ball, but Bordenaro applying that pressure where a few seconds earlier they have enough time to take the ball, turn around, and pass it off, but Bordenaro just applying that pressure, forcing them to kick it out.
They'll call the foul there against Massley as he knocks down Scott Matoyan.
10 minutos. 10 minutes.
The 81st minute, we're really getting into crunch time now.
I don't expect we'll see a difference in play, however. It's been pretty urgent throughout this entire half.
If we're going to get a goal in this game, it's probably just going to be one. I'd be surprised if we got 2 goals in the next 10 minutes. Falcons had it on the edge of the box. Their own box. They're able to get it out, send it downfield. McDonough runs it down for Mass Maritime. Falcons, nice block there. Trying to transition. Martinez pushing it up in the air. Riley will send it back to Cohen, and he'll have it. With the head. Wow, that one went pretty far. I didn't expect those kicks to go that far. The first 3 didn't. That one got past midfield.
Nearly in the trash bin there.
Get any points for that?
I don't understand why it's on the field, to be honest.
Reasons, I guess.
I'm looking for it again.
So McAbee throws it in. It's headed right back to him, and he'll try it again. So LaRose knocking it out. Tried to keep it in bounds with that kick. McAbee will have another go at it. Thrown in, chested down by Mills. Martinez, though, knocks it towards midfield. McDonough picks it up for the Buccaneers. Bordenaro on him. Trying to force something. Knocks it off. Burns. Far side. Running it upfield. Trying to chip it forward. It's too far. Brett Smith trailing. Can't get there. And another pickup for Joe Cohen. As we said, Cohen has not faced a shot on goal in this half since he came in.
And, I don't think that's a good thing for either team. Head coach of Mass Maritime's trying to get a look at both of these netminders. And I'm sure he's got a pretty good idea on what he's got in both of them, but still you'd like to see him get some work in.
I think the craziest thing, too, they're both freshmen. That means that Mass Maritime's setting goal for a while. If they're going to be this frustrating to play against, oh boy, teams are going to come to hate them. And that's probably what they want.
No doubt about it.
7 minutes to go, regulation time. That one knocked up in the air. Mills knocks it down at midfield. Falcons just trying to drive it forward. That's too far again. It will stay out of the box. Will it stay in bounds? Riley has to run it down. It will finally go out of bounds, but only after it got into the last 10 yards. Still Mills running it down with the kick forward. A couple more knocks forward, and now Mass Maritime trying to make something happen here. But Colin Shea gets his foot in the way, and it'll draw a corner kick. Mass Maritime had one corner kick in the first half. Just one. This is their 7th this half.
7. I was thinking 5th.
Well, they're up to 7 corners now, so
Wow.
overall in the game, and that's before this one, so 8 minus 1 is 7, and the Falcons haven't had any corner kicks in this half. Well, the Falcons have done a good job clearing the ball out on these corner kicks, not having the Buccaneers punish them. Leaping header by the Falcons just to try to keep that going. Brett Smith poking it away. Mills' feet gets caught up there. Falcons will have the throw in.
Dan, I will say this. They're applying so much effort and so much emphasis to limit the offensive opportunities of Mass Maritime that they've left very little on the table for the offensive possessions. You know, it's every here and there. You get a little spurt. Fitchburg possesses the ball, but it's nothing sustainable. And that's what I'm looking at right now is, yeah, they're applying all this effort, and they're playing extremely intense defense, but it's not translating over.
Hofer back into the game for Bordenaro. That's Bordenau's second sub off this half, so we won't be seeing him the last 5 minutes. Might see him again if we go to overtime. James David in for Steven Martinez as well.
You got to think that's what Werner Tisson's planning for anyway.
The Falcons have been to overtime 3 times already this year. They've got a win, they've got a loss, and they've got a tie. And the win, the loss came when they had 10 men. That one crossed in there. They were looking for Burns, but didn't go high enough. Riley knocking it away. Bunch of heads here. Handball called against the Falcons as trying to chest it forward, I think, was Jimenez, but just got his hand on it. Driven downfield. Trying to read the bounces. You know this field can be a little weird with that. The wind was swirling, too. It'd be even nuttier. Matoyan, near side. That is Seufert. And Massley kicks it out. More substitutions, 3 for the Buccaneers now. Fresh legs for the last couple minutes. I mean, even if it isn't golden goal right now, you have to think next goal wins.
No matter what the situation is, might as well treat this like sudden death.
So, 2 headers in the box. Matoyan trying to get to it. Turnaround shot is high. Mass Maritime's just done a much better job manufacturing chances here in this second half. They've really controlled the possession.
And you got to think it's...
My laptop just overheated.
Jeez.
That hasn't happened in a while, but yeah, it's a beautiful day. It's a sunny day. It's sitting out in the sun. It sat out in the sun for too long. So, 3 minutes to go, and here's a chance.
Oh, errant pass.
Still dangerous, though. Dylan Jones couldn't make a play on it. Neither could Killian Simpson. Falcons trying to nudge it forward now, but it's pushed back. Riley sends it well downfield. LaRose going to try to knock that back. He will. To midfield and out of bounds. .2:15 to go regulation time. A push against a Buccaneer. Free kick coming for the Falcons. Another substitution for Fitchburg. But the official says you can wait.
I believe that's number 15.
Sam Nickerson wanted to come back in. Have to wait for the next opportunity. Sent upfield, knocked down David. Trying to knock it down Riley, though. Riley had a few hiccups in the first half, but he's made a lot better. He's played a lot better the second half, I think. He's been one of the big defenders there for the Buccaneers, breaking up a lot of chances. He's had a very good half. And so now the Falcons trying to push it upfield. They don't have the numbers, but Jared Burns is going to try to make something of it. But Asa Mills knocks it out of bounds. Now the Falcons are going to get that substitution they wanted. Mass Maritime's going to have a chance to reset their defense with 60 seconds to go in regulation time as Nickerson comes off for LaRose. Falcons throw in, knocked back. Back towards midfield, Bolduck. Forward, but knocked back yet again. Around midfield, both teams battling for it. Again, both teams really pushing hard as it's battle between the middle third again. Clock keeps ticking, now down to 20 seconds. Falcons just want to push it forward for one last break. And now they're going to stop the clock as Hofer is down. And I think there's going to be a card given.
Hey. Wow.
There was a push too much by Daniel Riley. And so the yellow card given, there's 15 seconds on the clock. That is our first booking of the day. I said someone was going to go like just a push too far. And so now, a free kick from a little over 40 yards out.
James David about to make the game-winning kick here. Score the game-winning goal here.
That's what he'd like to do.
That's what he's ready to do. Takes a look at the ball. Looks up again. He's ready.
Just got to wait for the official. They're starting to jostle around at the top of the box. Everybody's standing right there. 18 yards from the goal. Joe Cohen, a yard off the goal line. He's ready too. Just got to wait for the official now.
Put in the top right-hand corner of the net. Here it comes.
To the goal. Cohen makes the catch. Falcons wanted a deflection, a one-timer. Cohen throws it back into play. And hear it count down. Nickerson kicks it out of bounds. One more foul given. It doesn't even matter. Time runs. 90 minutes will not be enough. For the fourth time this year, the Falcons are going overtime. So this has been we've gotten that defensive battle that we were thinking we were going to have.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't expect anything less out of this game, even with all the golden opportunities that they've had. Neither team has been able to capitalize, which makes things that much more interesting. Is overtime going to be enough? We're going to find out right now.
Yep, as we said, the Falcons' record in overtime this year, 1-1-1. They beat Elms in overtime by 1-0, down a man. They lost to WPI in overtime, 1-0, down a man. And they played it to a scoreless draw against Curry at full strength. And so we're going to have to see how it goes. As for the Buccaneers, they've only had the one tie against Nichols, their only overtime appearance.
All right, sounds good. Looking forward to it.
So we're going to take a short break. I'm going to reboot my laptop. And so we'll take a short break. Scoreless through regulation. Overtime will decide this game here at Elliott Field. This is Falcon Sports on MassCAC.tv. Welcome back, folks. Start of overtime here at Elliott Field on the campus of Fitchburg State University. Daniel Bolak, Paul Faria, Greg Bell on camera. We all thank you for joining us here today on Falcon Sports on MassCAC.tv. We played 90 minutes of soccer. We didn't get a goal. We're going to try to play up to 20 more minutes. We'll see if we get one. 2 halves, 10 minutes. That's the procedure. If we get a goal, game over. That team wins and takes all 3 points in the standings. If we don't get a goal in the 20 minutes, then we're just going to call it a good game and give each team a point.
Yep, and ladies and gentlemen, for that reason, you will see the term sudden death on your scoreboard if you're watching at home or with us online.
Sudden death, golden goal, whatever term you like to use. It says sudden death because that's the option. In any case.
Golden goal, that'd be good.
Shots in the second half, 8-4 in favor of Mass Maritime. Shots on goal were 3-1. Both teams really clamping down. That last kick by David, the only shot on goal the Falcons were able to get on Joe Cohen. As now the Falcons try to clear it to midfield. Mass Maritime has just been clamping down really with so much offensive pressure here in the second half. But now it's overtime. Both teams have had a chance to talk tactics with each other, with themselves, figure out new strategies. Give and go tried there, but getting in the way of that was Blaine Bolduck. He impeded the progress of Nick Parker. And I believe we're going to be seeing a card coming, and we will. Bolduck just got in the way. Not going to say he knocked down Parker, but there was a lot of contact there. So Asa Mills will have the free kick from 40 yards out. That was our first booking of the day against a Falcon, as we just had Daniel Riley get a yellow with 15 seconds to go. In the second half. So, free kick for Asa Mills. Top of the box, looking for a redirection. Parker was lurking, but it was right on, and Hannerty was able to knock it down. The Falcons just didn't have a lot of offensive oomph in the second half. And we'll see if they're able to find something. Maybe make a break downfield. Something, anything. A Buccaneer to the ground. Another free kick for Mass Maritime. Mass Maritime came into this game with a record of 5-0-1. They are legitimately good this year. And as we said, it starts with the goaltending and the defense as well.
Well, that's the center point. That's the vocal point of any team is the goaltending. It keeps your team in the game, gives you confidence, allows you to, not only play really good defense, but take more chances going the other way, play good transitional ball, and create better offensive opportunities as a result.
Falcons throw it in. Buccaneer D-line had a bit of trouble getting to it, but nonetheless, they will make a play on it. James David loses it. Buccaneers trying to get past midfield now. And saw some linked arms there, and then an extra shove there from Rob Robbs on Nick Massley. We're going to stop the clock. Are we going to have more bookings? Or are we going to have more warnings? What have we here? More warnings is what we're going to have.
Warnings? At this stage in the game, as physical as this game has been, that's questionable.
So now another free kick. Mills again. 45 away. To the top of the box. Falcons right in front. They knock it down. And so now knocked out of bounds. Another throw-in. And another whistle. Another clock stoppage.
Wow.
Another yellow card. And couldn't see who got it, but he didn't look to be too happy. Jared Burns has to run in and stop Josh Hofer from getting into things there. And the Falcon who got booked, was that Colin Shea or was that Nick Massley?
Leave Colin Shea.
Is it all the cards coming in spades here? 7:13 to go, first overtime. Another free kick. They went short and the Falcon wall got it too. Just that had to be a complete misfire, but in any case, Buccaneers try to run it down. It goes out. It's going to be a Falcon throw-in. Falcons will make a couple substitutions. It's never too late for substitutions.
You can be my love.
And so the Falcons will have a throw-in. Brett Smith, pass it back, send it forward. Buccaneers having none of that. That goes all the way back to Hannerty. He'll pick it up, and he'll drive it forward. And so this one goes high, deep downfield. Headed back. Cohen's going to run this down. He's going to get there before Jimenez can.
Now, Dan, just as an interesting little subplot, do you see Funkhauser returning if we go to a second overtime period?
In the Nichols game that Mass Maritime played, Cohen played the entire overtime. That one goes high and wide. So Cohen's going to see this through, I believe. Besides, the Buccaneers have played much better with Cohen in net anyway.
The advantages of playing in the second half.
So in the last substitution, Steven Martinez in for Nick Massley, Jared Burns for Connor Nealand. As Hannerty sends it downfield. It's out of bounds. The Falcons will have the throw-in. As we said, 2 halves, 10 minutes. We're nearly halfway through the first half of overtime. If we get a goal at any point, the game will end. Falcons trying to push it forward. Hofer is offsides.
Again.
I think actually they're calling the offsides on Jared Burns there is what they're doing. I thought they were both on. Don't like that one that much, but then again, for the Falcons, they're never going. That's a tough one to swallow no matter what. I mean, they've had so much trouble getting past, really, into the Buccaneers' third of the field since halftime, really. Now they're going to try another lead pass. Hofer going to try to run this down. He does get there first. Hofer trying to get around. Some feet there. Out of bounds. Falcons will have the throw-in. Playing the defense there with Stephen Maccabee. They'll throw it in. Falcons play it down. Set the cross looking for Burns. Kicked away. Colin Shea. Now Brett Smith. Far side. Smith with another lead pass. He wants Hofer. Riley's not going to let Hofer get to the ball. And it goes out. It's going to be a goal kick. We said Riley as I said, Riley I think struggled a little bit in the first half. He's looked very solid in the second half for Mass Maritime. He's one of the big cogs, the senior from Hanover. Same place that Colin Shea's from. I imagine they were teammates in high school.
Yeah.
They're both seniors from Hanover. And so now, 200 seconds to go in the first overtime from midfield. Falcons trying to get it forward. They're trying to spring those lead passes. They're not getting enough oomph on them. Now, Mass Maritime trying to get upfield. Parker to the ground, no whistle. Bolduck can't keep it in bounds. Out of bounds it goes. Falcons ready to substitute. But I don't think they can at this moment, so Buckborough will throw it in. Shot to the goal, and Hannerty had to stretch out and make a save there. Oh, that may have been going wide. Hannerty sending it back downfield. Buccaneers missed the header on that one, but this will go to midfield. Nealon's going to make a play on this one, keep it in bounds. He's trying to spring Jimenez. Can't find him. McDonough to midfield. Out of bounds, a throw-in for Mass Maritime. Clock keeps ticking as we're down to about 2 minutes to go in the first overtime. Shots now 20-13 in this contest. Buccaneers have gotten 3 to the goal. Oh, it's blooped up, a misplay, a whistle. Hannity mishandled the ball, but one of the Buccaneers did one thing too many. So the foul called. A free kick for the Falcons. 90 seconds to go in the first overtime. Now it comes to Nick Parker as it was knocked back. Can't find anyone. Brett Smith. To midfield. Steven Martinez. Lead pass. He wanted Jimenez, who had a lot of space. If it could have come through, it didn't. Jimenez with some nice footwork there. Pushing it forward. Now trying to give it back. Brett Smith now. Jimenez. Still battling there. Good defense, though. Hofer. Back for Nickerson. Trying to fight Hofer again. A block. A whistle. It goes against Fitchburg.
Two extremely animated teams going at it here.
By the way, more praise for Aiden Hannity. 12 saves today.
12.
That shutout streak over 550 minutes now. 555. Clock stops for the substitution. Start it back up on the kick. Falcons will just knock it out. They've had substitutions pending forever. Now they'll finally get to make them. Although not much time left. Buccaneers throw in. Falcons knock that up in the air. 100 minutes won't be enough. Halfway through overtime, and we are still scoreless.
What to say that we have not already said
Well,
in this game.
Mass Maritime are who we thought they were. But are the Falcons going to let them off the hook?
Now, that's the thing. Are you more surprised by the performance of Mass Maritime or surprised by the Falcons? Have the Falcons risen to the challenge, or have they... This is what we anticipated. They're both at the same level.
Let's see, a defensive struggle, but Mass Maritime's gotten more chances. I mean, the scout, if you look at the numbers, Mass Maritime has given up more shots than they've taken. They've given up 79 to taking 69 of their own. However, they've outshot the Falcons 21-13 in this contest. So they're just about closing that gap there.
That's a huge difference.
The Falcons have given up more shots than they typically would, as Mass Maritime in the second half found some ways through. But, again, Aiden Hannity, how solid has he been? I mean,
despite his 12 saves, I think that there were a couple saves that he made that were like, wow, that just saved the game. But I think for the most part, it's been a really solid performance by the Falcons' defense. The thing about soccer is what makes it different from, say, baseball or football, is that the defense has to translate into offense. The same group of players on defense has to translate into offense. You see it on hockey, you see it in basketball. So I think that they're doing a good job focusing on the defensive aspect, but offensively they really got to figure things out.
Yeah. I mean, the moment Joe Cohen came into the game, Mass Maritime started shutting down the Falcon offense. Falcons did not get a shot in that first 10 minutes. Mass Maritime got 4. Then, of course, the other thing, too, we mentioned this. Mass Maritime, 7 corners in the second half. It's usually a good metric of possession, and yeah, They were possessing it all right.
Jeez, 7-0 in the second half. Wow.
Yep. The Falcons have been guilty. They were called for 6 fouls in those 10 minutes. Wow, that many fouls against Fitchburg? And, of course, Blaine Bolduc and Colin Shea both got carded. I mean, if the Falcons can't get a goal, they cannot let their emotions boil over. I mean, at the very least, a tie obviously is a lot better than a loss. And you wonder how long those door frames going to hold up. Will the Buccaneers knock it down?
It certainly seems like that carbon and reinforced steel is a little, I wouldn't even say weaker, but just being pounded on a lot more when it comes to the Falcons.
Indeed.
Good spot of shade here.
My computer will like that.
The Falcons historically have done better in the shade than in the beating sun, winning 70% more games in the shade than in the sun. Beating sun. I'm just kidding completely. That was...
Yeah. I was going to say, aren't the Falcons actually better at night anyway? Seems like it.
Folks at home, that was a made-up stat.
Anyway, here's Martinez trying to spring someone here. But Riley gets to the ball first and cuts him off. And look at him kicking around Jared Burns. The Falcons still trying to push what they can, but you notice they're not selling out here on defense. They're staying back here. They're ready for a transition from Mass Maritime. It's only a few guys against, it's a few against many for the Falcons offensively there, but I'm not going to say they're playing for the tie, but they don't want to give up that goal. They really don't.
Yeah, but at the same time, that could be the thing that's shooting them in the foot and keeping them from a good offensive possession is not necessarily sell out, but let's see, 7 guys on the offensive turn.
Poke to the goal there by Seufert. Hannerty with the pickup. 8:25 left. That's all the soccer we've got time for. Hannerty sends that well downfield. It stayed in bounds. Betancourt wasn't too sure about that, and he let it go, and it ends up going out. So throw in here for Mass Maritime from the near side. Parker held up another foul. And Colin Shea's like, really? So many times the Falcons, they've been their own worst enemy when it comes to that. Asa Mills, another free kick. Bounces towards the top of the box. The Falcons were able to get it out of there.
Oh, man. Smell the blood in the water there. Great deflection at midfield.
Lead pass from Maccabee. Try to find Seufert. Falcons defense, though, doing a good job shutting it down. Maccabee heading it forward. He wants Seufert again. He keeps it in. Colin Shea trying to make a play on it. A lot of business there from Buckborough. Out of bounds. Falcons will throw in deep in their own territory. Whistle blows, they want substitutions. The subs will also kill some time, too, so if you're playing for the tie, make a lot of substitutions.
I think they can take a note of the way Regis handled things towards the end of the game a couple days ago.
Jared Burns got subbed off, so his game's over. You can't re-enter, so...
Burns have little to no impact in the second half.
Yeah, the Buccaneers found an answer for him as time went on. Like I said, they really changed it up in the second half when Funkhauser gave way to Cohen. And the Falcons have just had trouble really getting anything going. Whistle. And another foul called against Fitchburg.
I'm just surprised to see no Bordenaro here. Of course, Sorrentino checks back into the game. So it instills a little bit of some normalcy in terms of starting lineups, but Lemus has been out for a while.
This one to the far side. Smith. Knock it downfield on the far sideline. Kept in, shot towards the goal. Hannerty sets his sights on the ball and makes the save. Henry's going to place it on. He's going to kick it downfield, just get a few extra yards. Nicely driven. Knocked back, James David up in the air at midfield. Another head up. Asa Mills. To the far side, Sorrentino going to try to run it down. Keep it in bounds. McDonough trying to make a play on it for the Buccaneers. Try to push it forward. Looking for Kinsman. Far side. It goes out. Also, I think a whistle. Yes, another one.
5 minutes to go.
5 minutes. Butterfly starting to pound rapidly. Low kick downfield. A pass for Kinsman. He wants to cross it. Sorrentino won't let him. And when he finally does, Shea clears it. Will Mass Maritime break through? Or will the Falcons sneak away? Here's a long pass downfield. And Jimenez with some foot speed. He's got it. He wants to go cross field. Give and go. Jimenez wants to keep that in. He does get it towards the goal, but Cohen cuts it off as Betancourt was lurking. Sent back downfield. Headed forward by Parker. Whistle blows. And Parker was doing the main pushing on that one. So he's going to get dinged for that one. Doesn't believe that. Now they're going to stop the clock. I think they just want to retrieve the ball, make sure everyone gets the fair amount of time. You don't want to wait forever just don't want to wait forever, to get the ball ready and everything. Hannity will have this free kick with 3:58 left in overtime. So continues to bounce around. They're trying to spring Betancourt. He'll run it down to the near side corner. Sets the cross towards the goal. No Falcons there, and Joe Cohen makes the catch.
Football production team waiting patiently in the wings.
FATV's ready for football. We'll bring you their coverage at 1:30. Football's ready to get on the field and get at it. They got Bridgewater at 1:30. Field hockey at 6, also against Bridgewater. Me and Greg will be here with that. But 3:10 to go in regulation. Not just regulation, overtime. This game. Buccaneers trying to push forward. Oh, Parker. And at the last moment, a pushback. I believe that was Nickerson getting back there.
Yeah, more substitutions.
7 players.
Wow.
So anyone who comes off here is done for the day. Keep that in mind. So
there's not much of the day left anyway.
Yep. Only about 2.5 minutes left. Everyone's got fresher legs on for the final oomph. Who can break through? Can anyone break through? This goes out, it'll be another throw-in. Up in the air, in the box. Foul called against the Buccaneers. A free kick for the Falcons. Clock keeps ticking. We're at 2 minutes. Sent downfield, wanted Jimenez. Hofer trying to nudge it forward. Cespedes around as well. James David. Getting some pushing there from Dylan Jones, who's able to take it away.
Oh.
That tackle is not clean.
Completely missed the ball there.
Just went for the ball. Got all legs. Dylan Jones is up. He's okay. Wonder if he wanted a card. In any case, Mills, he's mindful of the clock. And LaRose going up over a Buccaneer.
Dan, what do you think? If this ends in a 0-0 draw, is this an essential positive takeaway, or is this less than what you expected for the Falcons?
The Buccaneers are really good defensively. They've been good. I think from my own personal perspective, I'm happy if we get a tie today. absolutely don't want a loss in the 110th minute, which starts right now. On the corner. Headed down. McDonough. Try to push it towards. Blocked by LaRose. Loose ball. Riley's going to run that down, and he'll send it back towards the box. And now loose up in the air. That's going to go out.
Blown chance.
Oh, man. Playing with fire there in the last minutes. One more substitution for the Falcons. This will run just a little more time off for the free kick. Really, the Falcons are just going to have one last chance.
And it's Lemus.
Lemus comes on. Let's finish this game here. 20 seconds. Headed back and forth now in the middle third. Out of bounds. Buccaneer throw-in. 5 seconds left.
Tie.
That's it. Stuck in the middle field. Stuck in the middle third as it's always been. We're out of time. Game over. This game ends in a scoreless draw.
Wow. Whew. Barn burner.
Wow. Well, I said at the beginning of the game there's a realistic chance that the goalies will hold up. Who will crack first? The answer? Neither.
And, we said that as a likely possibility. Who's going to get the edge, if anybody? Who's going to make the mistake, if anybody? Whose doors, whose hinges are going to break, if at all? And they didn't. So credit to both goalies, both playmakers.
The three best goalies in the conference came to play today, and they all did their job to perfection.
Yes, sir.
A double shutout that we have today. Funkhauser and Cohen get their second combined shutout of the season. 4 shutouts for the Buccaneers as they pick up their second tie. One thing we didn't mention in this game at all was Greg Perry was going for his 100th win today. Coming into this game with 99 wins, it's going to have to wait for another day. But, oh, boy. Mass Maritime is for real this year. They played a very good game. They did play better than the Falcons offensively. Mave did better than them defensively. They played a very solid game. I'm impressed.
That certainly wasn't the case in the first half. Things were a complete 180 turnaround in the second half. But nonetheless, both teams, like you just said, playing a very, very, very good game. And I like the direction both of these teams are heading. And we look for a great, great competition moving forward in the MASCAC.
Yep. Also to point out, Hannerty's 4th shutout of the season. His shutout streak now 500 in 65 minutes, I think. It was 4:55:51 coming in, so 565 minutes and 51 seconds, the shutout streak for Aiden Hannerty.
And it will continue.
Yep, and he made a lot of saves today. This was not an easy game. This was, though, an impressive showing, though. I mean, the Falcons held firm, even with Mass Maritime breathing down their neck the whole game. They held on for the tie. Like I said, I'm happy with that. So the Falcons now 4-4-2 overall, 1-0-1 in conference play. Mass Maritime remains unbeaten, 5-0-2, 1-0-1 in conference play. And so that pretty much wraps it up. So that wraps it up here from Elliott Field. A scoreless tie. Our next webcasts, we have football, Bridgewater, in Fitchburg State at 1:30, and in field hockey at 6 o'clock. That's family weekend here at Elliott Field. And we'll see you then. So any final words?
Nope. Everybody have a great day. Enjoy your Saturday afternoon, and go Patriots.
Yep. So for Greg Bell, Paul Ferry, my name's Daniel Bolak. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. This has been a presentation of Falcon Sports.